What's going on, Summoners? Welcome to another Wild Rift video. My name is Irene, and today we're going to be discussing something that everyone's been thinking about and something that's also very near and dear to my heart, and that is the future of Wild Rift esports. But before we get into that, we have our question of the day. What other mobile MOBAs have you guys played before Wild Rift? Leave your comments in the comment section below, and let's get into the video.
Even though Wild Rift is still only in its beta stage, the competitive scene has already started to form. Tournaments have started being held, and renowned pre-existing esports teams have begun to create their own Wild Rift teams. Singularity Wild Rift Cup wrapped up with a $3,000 prize pool, which is the biggest in Europe so far. Additionally, a $200,000 prize pool was announced for a tournament in the Philippines, a massive symbol of the potential future of Wild Rift esports. But the game is literally still in open beta phases. So how are things coming along so well? Before we talk about the future of the competitive scene for Wild Rift, we need to talk briefly about the history of Wild Rift, starting from League of Legends. As most of you guys know, Wild Rift is the mobile version of League of Legends, which was one of the biggest contributors to the MOBA genre. League of Legends drew inspiration from other games as well, but it is the most famous MOBA in gaming history. League of Legends created the world's biggest esports scene, defining the expectations and standards of competitive gaming. It truly changed how people viewed games. No longer were they treated as simple pastimes, they were now sports, trials of competition at the highest possible level. And of course, without League of Legends, there would be no Wild Rift. The entire landscape of video game coverage and esports as a whole would be different if not for League of Legends. The major success of the game led to more sponsorships, massive live events, and the creation of a whole new culture of gaming. League of Legends shined the much needed light on competitive gaming to the rest of the world, allowing for future games to follow in its footsteps. League of Legends champions and gameplay inspired the creation of many other MOBAs, some of which were created on the mobile platform. But before talking about Wild Rift in full, we need to talk about more history. Specifically, we need to discuss Wild Rift's predecessors in the community, the other mobile MOBAs. The most notable MOBAs created on the mobile platform are Vainglory, Mobile Legends, and King of Glory, which rebranded to Arena of Valor in the West. If you ever tried to find a good MOBA to play on the mobile to fit your League of Legends cravings on the go, you've probably heard of these games. These MOBAs are currently the leading MOBAs in the mobile industry, having years of history ahead of Wild Rift. What this means is that unlike League of Legends, Wild Rift is not the pioneer of its field. Wild Rift is in a very unique position, but it's definitely not the first one to enter competitive MOBA gaming. The mobile competitive industry already has their own set of players, their own culture, and even their own tournaments. Vainglory was the first mobile MOBA to gain a significant competitive scene. Before Vainglory, many mobile games had a bad reputation in general, as being shallow in depth, easy to play, and just frankly boring. When you mentioned mobile games, people thought about simpler games like Fruit Ninja, Tap Tap, Doodle Jump. Released in 2014 though, Vainglory showed the world that mobile gaming had potential. With 60 FPS and detailed graphics and animations, Vainglory proved that there was more to mobile gaming than meets the eye. The game had opportunities for outmaneuvering the enemy, requiring team plays and communication to succeed. Vainglory was ahead of its time and pioneered the way for mobile MOBAs. Before long, the 5v5 games competitive scene blew up. A tournament in 2015 held in Korea had over 1 million people watching, signifying the start of something huge. This allowed for more tournaments to be held and more regions to become involved in its future. This marked the beginning of competitive MOBAs on the phone. Next came Mobile Legends and King of Glory, the two MOBAs most relevant in the scene right now. Mobile Legends is another 5v5 MOBA for the mobile. The game became immensely popular internationally, overtaking Vainglory and developing its own competitive scene in 2017. This took away a lot of Vainglory's audience, as the two games accompany essentially the same genre. But there was a big problem with Mobile Legends. It was an undeniable knockoff of League of Legends, made evident through early game design, almost frame-for-frame advertisement knockoffs and champions. Mobile Legends became infamous as a League of Legends clone. Developed by Moonton, Mobile Legends CEO previously worked at Tencent. In case you didn't know, Tencent owns Riot Games, and in 2018, Moonton got sued by Tencent in claims of ripping off League of Legends and won the case. Since then, Mobile Legends has evolved quite a lot, doing their best to differentiate themselves from League of Legends. Tencent also published their own mobile MOBA game named King of Glory. The game was incredibly popular, with millions of watch hours for their competitive scene. Once the hottest MOBA game in mainland China, the game experienced immense success. For their Western release, they had to rebrand to Arena of Valor, utilizing the same engine but changed their heroes to accommodate the international market. Sadly, Arena of Valor is being dropped, so Tencent can focus on their newest game, Wild Rift. This resulted in many of Arena of Valor's professional players to move on to Wild Rift, making it their second home. It was obvious that people wanted to play League of Legends on the go, displayed by Mobile Legends' success and the numerous requests for Riot's iteration of a mobile game. But unlike the other mobile MOBAs, Wild Rift is modeled directly after League of Legends, allowing them to emulate the champions and gameplay mechanics that made League of Legends the hit phenomenon that it has become today. This means that, with Riot in charge, the Wild Rift starts off with immense brand recognition and a very loyal fan base. League of Legends PC players looked towards the game in excitement, and many of Arena of Valor's competitive players migrated to Wild Rift following Tencent's decision to shut down the game and focus on Wild Rift. The other mobile MOBAs did take some time for their competitive gaming environment to develop. Wild Rift, on the other hand, has begun forming their competitive scene even before the beta release. Esports teams awaited patiently for their release. Some teams even utilized VPNs to play on the Asia server to get a small head start of their competition. The hype around Wild Rift was and is too real. Team Singularity, an EU esports team that has experienced success in mobile gaming, made their own Wild Rift team and hosted the biggest tournament thus far in the EU with a prize pool of $3,000. With the tournament having just wrapped up, this marks the biggest Wild Rift tournament in Europe up to date. They had a full broadcasting team, making the viewing experience quite exceptional. We had the pleasure of interviewing Singularity's mobile esports director, Ryu, to ask him the state of Wild Rift and the future of the game. He replied, "Players with extensive mobile MOBA experience seem to be dominating the tournaments, and in a lot of these early teams, people know each other from the other mobile MOBAs. I'm expecting League of Legends PC players to be able to catch up over time." What this means, although Wild Rift is a League of Legends port, the game seems to be appealing to mostly the mobile gaming demographic. This doesn't really come as a surprise though, as most of the professional players currently involved migrated from other mobile games as we previously mentioned. Therefore, the professional scene will look much like the scenes of other mobile MOBAs, but with the funding of Riot Games. The future does look very promising. If more and more League of Legends players end up migrating to Wild Rift, this should bring in more diversity in the future competitive player base. Without a doubt, once Wild Rift is more readily available, former League of Legends players will continue to dip their feet into the world of mobile gaming, allowing Wild Rift to be a connection between both worlds. Ryu added that at the start, there were very few tournaments and teams, but since then, we have seen a few good tournaments reach almost 100 participating teams. The top 3 teams in Europe, Baguette, Team Singularity, and Nova Esports in the scene, do seem to be way above the level of the rest of the pack, but I hope it won't be too long before we see teams that can challenge them. Wild Rift tournaments are picking up fast. With more and more interest gaining for the game, groups of people are coming together to hold local tournaments. The prize pools are still small, but steadily increasing, and participants for those tournaments are learning and growing. As Ryu mentioned, in the EU, 3 teams have made themselves the powerhouses of the game: Baguette, Team Singularity, and Nova Esports. This shows the amount of dedication that goes into the competitive teams already. People will only continue to improve, and the quality of gameplay and competition will intensify. Now you might be thinking, how come you haven't seen much Wild Rift competitive coverage yet? Well, the spectator mode only recently made its way onto the Wild Rift. Without spectator mode, watching the games had to be done through player streams, which are less than optimal for watching the tides of a tournament. But expect more competitive Wild Rift coverage as the game continues to evolve. This means more professional castings and tournaments with the conventional view of both sides of the fog of war. Wild Rift esports coverage has literally just only begun. Asia has also been developing their Wild Rift esports team. In the most recent big tournament, Wild Rift Asia Brawl, they implemented the spectator mode, which allowed for a full-on production for watching the finals. Although they ran into some hiccups, they had replays, cuts, and edits, and broadcasters to make for the full viewing experience. With more viewership readily available, this means more sponsors, more involvement, and, best of all, more esports. While discussing the future of Wild Rift esports, it is impossible to not mention the Philippines. In this region of the world, mobile MOBA gaming is huge. Shout out to everyone from the Philippines watching this video. You guys are rocking it for the Wild Rift. Mineski, a Philippines esports-based organization, is holding a $200,000 tournament that kicks off on February 26th. The 2021 League of Legends Wild Rift Southeast Asian Icon Series, the preseason, is a 5-week-long preseason tournament with very high stakes. The tournament is the first tournament produced by Riot Games Southeast Asia, so expect great things. Not only that, but this is, by far, the biggest tournament held for Wild Rift. And all of this is before the full game releases, too. Tournament dates will be different according to the region in Asia, but many teams have been announced to participate. Indonesia has Alter Ego and Onyx, Malaysia has Berjaya Dragon and Todak, Philippines have Bren Esports, RRQPH, and Team Secret. Singapore has The Alliance, Taiwan has Flash Wolves, One Team, and TXO. Thailand has King of Gamers Club, Vietnam has V Gaming, Saigon Phantom, and SBTC Esports. But this is not even the full list of teams, which Riot announced will be revealed at a later date. Be sure to check this tournament out. Mobile MOBAs have generally had more success in Asia, so expect the growth in esports to be focused in Asian regions first. Mobile MOBAs simply did not stick with the Western demographic as much, shown by the lack of player base for Arena of Valor and Mobile Legends in the West. Hopefully, Wild Rift works to change that and allows more future involvement in Western regions of the world to participate in the esports realm of mobile MOBAs. The era of Wild Rift has begun, and being only in its open beta phases, such massive tournaments are being hosted, and professional teams have begun to fight for their place in Wild Rift esports history. Riot has been taking a very active role in helping shape the horizon for Wild Rift. MOBA competitive gaming is huge, and it's only about to get bigger as Wild Rift serves as the connection between League of Legends and handheld gaming. Be sure to keep up with competitive Wild Rift, as this is gaming history in the making. Experience Wild Rift while it's on the rise. Similarly to how fans supported League of Legends during its initial stages of increased popularity, we, the gamers, professional players, content creators, and most of all viewers, are all in a unique position to help pave the future of this game. So let's do our best to show support for the growing esports of Wild Rift.
Now, as someone who loves information myself, I know that the lack of details on specific players and professional teams may be frustrating. But as previously mentioned, the professional esports realm is still developing. Some information is just simply not readily available due to the lack of coverage at the moment. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, sub to the channel, and join our community Discord if you want to make fun of Kangus's bald head. Until next time though, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. What's going on, summoners? Welcome. What's going on? Oh, shot in the fucking gut, dude.